Hello and welcome along to today's solve of a Telegraph Cryptic Crossword. Today we're going to have a go at Cryptic Crossword number 31063. So if you're new to Cryptic Crosswords and you want to learn a bit about how they work and how to solve them, or perhaps you're a bit more of a skilled Cryptic Crossword solver looking to hone your skills, whatever your reason, you're definitely in the right place today. We're going to go through the clues one by one, hopefully solve them all, and I'll try and explain how they're set up and what sort of tips and things to look for when you're working on Cryptic Crosswords. So with all that said, let's start as we always do with one across. Investigation about car she wrecked. Okay. So normally with Cryptic Crosswords, a cryptic clue about 75% of the time is written with two parts: the definition part, the straight part, and the cryptic part, which is the wordplay, the instruction on how to find the answer. And so usually the cryptic part is either the beginning or the end, and the straight part, the definition part, is the other side. And that's the first thing probably to look for when you're trying to solve a cryptic clue, is which side of this clue looks like the straight part and which part looks like wordplay. Well, the word wrecked could be an anagram indicator. Car she is 6 letters, so we need to find perhaps another 2 letters, and about might be helpful there. So I think in this case what we're looking for is a word that means investigation. So this is the definition, the straight part, investigation, and the wordplay is telling us to wreck, to anagram car she, and something to do with about. Well, about has a couple of abbreviations. One is the letter C for circa, but also re, R-E, as in regards. You might see that on formal letters. The title of a letter would be re, and then whatever the letter is about, for example. So with re for about and car she anagrammed, we do get, I'll put my cursor in the right place, research, which is investigation. So that's re at the beginning, and then car she wrecked afterwards gives research, which is investigation. Okay, good start. 5 across. Church always seems empty at first. Daughter concluded. Excuse me, I'm just suffering from a bit of a back end of a cold and a cough, so I have to keep clearing my throat. Anyway, let's get on. Church always seems empty at first. Daughter concluded. So which end of the clue is the straight part and which is the cryptic part? Well, church has a number of abbreviations: CH, also CE, and sometimes RC. Always could be ever or air, EER. Seems empty. So seems empty would be double S if you empty out the word seems. Then we've also got at first, so maybe seems empty at first as SE. Daughter is often abbreviated to D. And looking at the wordplay here, I think the definition is concluded, so sort of understood or finished. And with daughter as abbreviation D at the end, that would certainly give us a word in the past tense. Empty at first is E, so that gives us E. So we're looking for a church. Yeah, this is ceased. So church, CE, and then we have always seems empty at first. So this is telling us to take the first letters of always seems empty, ASE. D for daughter gives us ceased, which is concluded. Okay, 9 across. Type playing liar in times gone by. Okay. Again, so playing liar looks like potentially an anagram of the word liar, or it could be an anagram of the word type playing. I think more likely an anagram of liar. So is this a word that means type, beginning L, some combination of LYRE? Don't know. Don't know, let's go on. Greek airman is hugging Italian opera singer not so. So I think here the straight part is a Greek airman. Yeah, and we're looking for something in ancient Greek. So I think this is Icarus. So the Greek airman is Icarus. Flew too close to the sun. Is literally the word is, INS, hugging Italian opera singer not so. So Caru, was there an opera singer Caruso, I think. So Caruso, Caruso, not so, so without the so part, just gives Caru. In the middle of IS gives Icarus. 12 across. Vessel bearing material. Right, so I'm not seeing this exactly, but this looks like either a word for a vessel and a word for a bearing to mean a material, type of material, maybe a metal or cloth material perhaps. Or it could be a bearing such as north, south, east or west with, again, a material, a piece of metal or cloth to mean vessel. And that could be like a submarine, maybe some sort of long warship, frigate type vessel. Yeah, not seeing that one. Let's go on. 13 across. Film directors lists. Yeah, I think this is leans. So the film director, I think there was a film director, David Lean. I think he's a British film director. So film director, S on the end, gives leans, which is lists. In this case, it's not lists as in written down numbers of things. It's list as in to tilt or to lean. So it's that kind of lean. Okay, 14 across. The wingless birds screech. Okay, well I don't think there are any wingless birds, so we're not looking for a wingless bird. But there are flightless birds, but not wingless birds. Yeah, so the wordplay here is the wingless. And if you take the wings off of the, you're left with an H. And then a 3-letter word for a bird would be an owl, which gives howl, and a howl is a screech. Good. Part of hospital that embodies first bit of emergency care, not half. So part of hospital is often ENT. There's usually in most hospitals an ear, nose and throat department. So ENT appears quite often as part of hospital because there are many words that have ENT in them or end ENT. The other hospital word that appears quite often is theatre. Yeah, I think this is theatre. So how do we get that? So it's that, THAT, embodies first bit of emergency. So the first letter of emergency is E. So we have that with E. And then care, not half. So if we remove half of the word care, remove the CA, we're left with RE. That gives theatre, which is part of hospital. Great. 19 across. Joy, editor recalled, given answer to a clue. Okay. So editor is a regular word appearing in crosswords, as an editor is abbreviated to ed, ED. So is this editor recalled being DE, or is it recalled given answer to a clue? Well, if it began DE, what about delight? So delight is joy. That's quite clear. Editor recalled would be ED recalled DE. And if you get an answer to a clue, is that a light? You see the light, see the answer? Maybe. We'll see. We've got some checking letters. We can use that later on. I'm not 100% confident on that one, I have to say, but we'll leave it in there and we'll see what happens when we get to the down clues. But let's move on. Newspaper covering a European's ill fortune. So another newspaper-related clue. Yeah, so newspaper can appear to mean press in general, but obviously we've only got 4 letters here. Sometimes it can be used to represent the Sun newspaper because that's a nice short word, and there's the Sun newspaper in Britain, but it can also be used to refer to the Financial Times. And the Financial Times itself is abbreviated to FT. So if we put FT to cover A, E is a recognised abbreviation for European, we get fate, which is ill fortune. Now, some of these abbreviations are a bit new to you. Let me tell you, you can't just abbreviate any word you want to its initial letter or couple of letters. The abbreviation has to appear in a recognised dictionary like Collins or Chambers or Oxford. So there are rules about what you can and can't abbreviate. And if you're interested, I've produced a little downloadable guide with about 9 pages of abbreviations that are regularly used in crosswords, including FT for newspaper, E for European, they're both in there. And along with the definitions of abbreviations, 9 pages of abbreviations, I've also gone through and listed the 12 typical cryptic crossword clue types, how to spot them, how they're formed, and how to solve them with a few examples. So if that's of any interest to you, it's a free PDF available in the link below. Just click the link, it should automatically download. No sign up, nothing to pay, just there if it's of any use to you. Okay, let's move on. 24. Opposed to shedding stone once more. So I think we've got another abbreviation here. Stone is abbreviated to ST in weights and measures, stones and ounces, and so on. Yeah. And if you're opposed to something, you are against it. But if you take the word against and you remove the ST from stone, you get again, which is once more. 25 across. Neighbours perhaps put lather on Aida. Yeah, okay, so this is fairly straightforward, I think. This is soap opera. So lather is soap, Aida is an opera, and Neighbours perhaps. So Neighbours obviously is a famous Australian soap opera. And so that's the answer. Broadcast vulgar program. Okay, so words like broadcast or on the radio or it is said or spoken are all synonyms for a word which implies that we need to look for a sounds like word, so a homophone. So I think what we're looking for here is a word that sounds like vulgar. So broadcast vulgar, so a word that sounds like vulgar but actually means program. Yeah, so I think this is course. So course with an A, C-O-A-R-S-E, would be vulgar. But a word that means a program, so a course of study, a program of study, would be C-O-U-R-S-E. So sounds like vulgar, but actually means program. The answer is course. Unrelenting. Prisoners spank adults' rear. Okay. Curious phrase. So I think words like adult's rear would imply we're meant to take the last letter of adult, which is T. So the second half of the clue here is the wordplay. The first part is the definition, the straight part. Prisoners, when they appear in cryptic crosswords, are often used abbreviated to cons, C-O-N, cons, or lag. And lags is an old sort of slang term for a prisoner. Yeah, so in this case I think it's cons. So we've got cons. If you spank somebody, you tan their backside if they get a spanking. And then T as the last letter of adult, the rear letter of adult, gives constant, which is unrelenting. Okay. Mysterious reversing in ships' races. So ships is a regular feature in crosswords, and the abbreviation for ships is SS. So steamships, or sometimes sailing ships, SS. So I think what we're looking for here is a word for mysterious, probably backwards. So reversing is telling us to write the word backwards. So a word for mysterious backwards in SS to mean races, and certainly as races is plural, that fits with the double S. But I'm not seeing that one, so let's go on. 30 across. Sea prince struggling, leaving one carriage. So struggling could be an anagram indicator. Sea prince has 9 letters and we need 8. But then we have leaving 1, and I is the Roman numeral for 1. So if you take the letters of sea prince without the I and rearrange it, we're looking for a word that means carriage. What about presence? So presence is certainly an anagram of sea prince. It's not the sort of carriage I was expecting. I have to say I was looking for a word for a car of some sort, or a make of car, or that sort of thing. But I guess the way you carry yourself, your carriage in that sense, the way you portray yourself and the demeanour that you put out is your presence. So I think, again, I'm not 100% certain, but it's certainly an anagram of sea prince, and I'm not seeing any other anagrams that might mean some sort of car or landau or any other sort of carriage. So I think this is carriage as in the way you carry yourself, your deportment, if you like, is your presence. Good. Okay, that's all the cross clues attacked for the first time. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the solve today, please consider giving the video a like. It really helps the algorithm with new channels and small channels like this to get seen, so it'd be great if you could give the video a like. And if you're enjoying this and you want to be notified of more videos from me, then please consider subscribing to the channel as well. That would be great. It'd be lovely to have you along on my twice weekly solves of cryptic crosswords. Okay, with that being said, let's crack on. One down. Rubbish, match official, guesses regularly. Yeah, so regularly here is telling us to take the regular letters of the word guesses. Now that could be the first, third, fifth, and so on, or the second, fourth, sixth. Well, a match official, particularly with the R here, would be ref. And if we take the second, fourth, and sixth letters, USE, we get refuse, which is rubbish. Okay, quiet massages, you might have these in bed. So quiet has a couple of abbreviations. In musical terms, it's P for piano, or if it's very quiet, PP, pianissimo. Quiet can also be SH. Yeah, so SH for quiet. Massages are rubs. Get a rub, get a massage, and a shrub is something you might have in bed, in a flower bed. So SH and rubs give shrubs, which are things you might have in beds. Okay, spy, cheers up, gathering information. Yeah, okay, so these are, if you're familiar with cryptic crosswords, these sorts of words appear frequently. So cheers is often abbreviated to tar, TA, thank you, tar, cheers. Up implies we reverse it, so we have A above T. Gathering quite simply means that we put into the letters A and T a word meaning information. And there are a number of words meaning information. Data is one, but gen is a regular word that's used to mean information. And agent is regularly appears in cryptic crosswords to mean a spy. Secret agent is a spy. So we have agent. Military officer's heart murmured. Well, with those letters, it looks like colonel. But why is it colonel? Yeah, so this is another sounds like clue. We had one down here, broadcast. Murmured might be like muttered, like mumbled, as in said verbally and heard as an audio. A word for heart, and the heart of something, the centre of something, is the kernel, Kernel. So a word that sounds like heart but means military officer is colonel, Colonel. Okay, should be able to get this one. Smashing former lover on phone with topless gent. Yeah, so a former lover is an ex. And again, this is a phrase that appears quite regularly. A former lover or former partner or old flame or old in general can sometimes be ex. Phone, particularly if you're in America, is a cell phone. Topless gent, literally the word gent without the first letter, E-N-T, gives excellent, which is smashing. Let's crack on. Small taverns, sozzled maids. Yeah, again, with all those letters, this is easier than it might have been. So sozzled here is an anagram indicator, and it's telling us to anagram the letters of the word taverns, which is 7 letters, plus S for small. So S is a recognised abbreviation for small, as in clothing sizes, small, medium, large, S, M, L, XL as well. So we've got the S at the top, and if we rearrange the letters of taverns, we get servants, which are maids. Okay. Heavy blow from side, almost knocked over plant. Heavy blow from side. Well, side almost would be SID. And if you knock that over, so you reverse it, you get DIS, which does fit with the top. So now we're looking for a word for a plant. Yeah, and that's aster. So dis and aster gives disaster, which is a heavy blow. Okay. Some of the athletes warm up. Yeah, so this is a hidden clue. So some of here is telling us to literally take some of the letters of the following words. And within that, if we take the H, the E, the A and the T of the athletes, we get heat, which is to warm up. Okay, prepared, grandiose, spread. Okay, so prepared can be an anagram indicator, and spread can be an anagram indicator, which I think is why this clue is written like this, to give us a bit of a tricky poser to work out which side is the straight part and which is the anagram part. But clearly we need to rearrange the letters of grandiose in the middle. And if you see the checking letters we have already in the clue, that looks like it should be organised. And ISED, organised. And organised, I guess, means prepared in this case. So the straight part of the clue is prepared, and it's made up from the word grandiose, spread, or anagrammed to give organised. Okay. Plug US Vice President's proposals. Yeah, so the current US President is Vance. So Vice President's S on the end gives Vance's. A plug, in this case, is an ad or an advertisement. So an ad with Vance's gives proposals, which are advances. You might propose, you advance an idea, propose an idea. Okay, that's good. So delight is looking like it's probably right. Dad's crossing the French River for fun. So dad is another word that appears regularly in crosswords, usually abbreviated to PA, P-A, or PARS, P in this case because it's dad's. The French, so what we're looking for here, I think, is a French word for the. Obviously, the French have 3 words for the, le, la, and les. So I think we're looking for one of those, and we've got the L already. So if that's LE, and if that's the A of pars, yeah. And then the Ure is a river, U-R-E. So dad's crossing le, Ure gives pleasure, which is fun. Okay. Labour's tense as Keir's leader. Yeah, this is task. So T is a recognised abbreviation of tense. So that's in my downloadable list. As, literally the word as in the middle of the word. And then Keir's leader is the K, the leading letter of Keir is K, gives task, which is labour. Your labours, your tasks, things you have to do. Okay, 21 down. Prefer embracing student spirit. With those letters, I think this is flavour. So if you prefer something, you favour it. Embracing, or going around the outside of, students, and again, students is a regular word that appears in Cryptic Crosswords, and it refers to the letter L, as in a learner. You might see L plates on cars, for example. So favour, embracing L for student, gives flavour, and flavour and spirit, perhaps not the most obvious synonym, but if you're looking for somebody's spirits, the sort of general overview of something, that would be its flavour. So it's something general rather than specific about a particular item or person or thing. So spirit is the definition part here. 22 down. Keep unclothed star in check. So unclothed looks like it's telling us to remove the outer letters. Now, are we removing the outer letters of keep to give EE, which might fit here, but there aren't a lot of words that begin EE. Or does the word mean keep? And therefore unclothed star would be TA, and we do have the A. In check, yeah, so this is retain. So to check is to rein, R-E-I-N. That's another synonym of check. With TA, the unclothed part of star, gives retain, which is to keep. Disturb, snake, pulling tail. Okay, I think this is rattle. So in this case, the snake is a rattler. And then if you pull the tail, if you remove the last letter, the tail letter of rattler, you get rattle. And to rattle is to disturb. Okay, have we got all the down clues in one go? I think we have. Apart from this last one. Watering hole. Okay, I think we know where this is going. For Aussies, oddly abandoned. Well, this looks as a watering hole with those letters. That has to be oasis. So let's just see if we can get it. So again, we've got one of these oddly abandoned, telling us to take the even letters. If you abandon the odd letters, you keep the even letters. So the second letter of 4 is O. Miss out the R. A, S, I, S. So that's quite clever. The alternate letters of 4 Aussies gives us oasis, which is a watering hole. Great. Almost done. 1, 2, 3 left in about half an hour. Okay. Type playing lyre in times gone by. Okay, so if this is an anagram of lyre, the L is here. So if that's looking like E-R-L-Y, times gone by, yeah, formally. So type of something will be the form of something. So type, form, anagram of lyre gives formally, which is times gone by. 12 across. Vessel bearing material. Well, I said submarine, but it's not that, I don't think, because agent's definitely right. But it could be could be the vessel. Yeah, and so your stance. is your bearing in this case, how you're standing, the way you stand. The direction you're standing in is your bearing. Again, that was similar to carriage that we had earlier on with presence and that sort of similar sort of turn of phrase. So bearing, stance, vessel is a submarine, gives substance, and a substance is a material. So it wasn't referring to a specific material particularly, but just material in general, being substance. And last one. Mysterious reversing in ships races. Yeah, okay, so this is speeds. And so the mysterious part is deep. Something that is mysterious might be said to be deep. And if you reverse deep in ships, SS, you get speeds, which is races. So there we are. That's today's crossword done in just about half an hour. So that's good. I hope you enjoyed that. Some clever clues in there. Not too tricky in some places. Some things like soap opera was fairly straightforward. And certainly once you get a few checking letters, some of these other words dropped out quite quickly, which was good. So thanks for joining me today. If you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a like and maybe subscribing to the channel. It really helps new channels to get going and get seen by the algorithm. If my downloadable is of any interest to you, with the 9 pages worth of abbreviations used in cryptic crosswords and also descriptions of the 12 crossword clue types, click the link in the description below. It should automatically download you the PDF. If you have any problems, put a note in the chat, let me know. I'll sort you out on that. And with all that being said, I think we'll stop there. So thanks for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of the day, whatever it is you're up to, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks very much. Bye.